All right, now back here at home, Democrats are hoping that new revelations by the New York Times that President Trump overruled his own national security hold to hold up military aid to Ukraine is a potential impeachment game changer. As you can see, Ben Tracy is traveling with the president in Florida. This is really interesting stuff, Ben. How are these latest revelations? How are people reacting to the revelations, and why are they such a big deal?
Well, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer seems to think that this is going to give him leverage. He's seizing on these new revelations that President Trump repeatedly overruled his own national security team in withholding this aid from Ukraine.
These new revelations are a game changer.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer on Monday said a new report emphasizes the need for the Senate trial to have witnesses. Witnesses like Acting Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney and former National Security Advisor John Bolton. According to a New York Times report, President Trump's top national security advisors, including Bolton, tried to convince the president to release the aid, but he overruled them. A top Mulvaney aide is quoted as saying, "Expect Congress to become unhinged if the military aid is held up."
The new reporting shows that there were serious concerns raised by Trump administration officials about the propriety and legality of what the president was doing.
But Republicans downplayed this as a disagreement within the White House.
I would expect those guys to share their opinions with the president. I'd also expect them to walk out and, either execute the president's wishes or, just maybe even leave if they disagreed with the president.
All right, so is the White House worried that, this could be a little bit of a game changer, that this could maybe tip the balance when it comes to more moderate Republicans as they, get maybe additional information and evidence that bolsters the Democratic argument?
That's definitely a concern. I mean, you're already seeing cracks in that wall with somebody like Alaskan Senator Lisa Murkowski coming out and saying, I think we need to have a fair trial here, and kind of opening that door to perhaps we should have witnesses. All the Democrats need, are 4 Republicans to vote with them to kind of force this trial in a different direction. You only need 51 votes to bring witnesses to the floor to compel documents. So you could imagine somebody like Murkowski, Susan Collins, Cory Gardner, Mitt Romney, these kind of moderate Republicans who want to make sure that this trial appears to be fair. On the other hand, you have Mitch McConnell saying, we already have the votes to acquit. Why would we go down the road of opening up this Pandora's box of bringing in witnesses when we don't know what they'll say?
So even before this latest report, though, there was a debate raging about, these witnesses. And, Democrats were saying, well, if the president did nothing wrong, then what's wrong with putting Mick Mulvaney or others, Bolton, on the stand? They can only verify what the White House is saying. And Republicans refusing to do so and arguing, well, you've never heard anybody who spoke directly from the president, so your argument, you have no proof for your argument. I'm being really sort of loose with my back and forth. But what is the counter argument from the Republicans as to why they wouldn't want to put these people on the stand if they can theoretically exonerate the president?
Yeah, there has not been much of an argument from Republicans on the merits. They've basically kind of fallen back on these process arguments, saying that the impeachment inquiry and then the vote in the House was unfair, and therefore why kind of justify that with having a real trial in the Senate. So that's what you're hearing from a lot of Republicans. But keep in mind that the White House this entire time has not cooperated at all. They've refused to hand over any of the documents the Democrats asked for in the House. They did not provide any witnesses. So you have Republicans making an argument that the case is really weak. But if the case is weak, it's weak in part because the White House refused to cooperate. We've never heard from these people under oath. So that's why you're now having Democrats say we need to hear from them. This is different from past impeachment trials because those people had already testified.
So listen, Ben, before I let you go, I got to ask you about this developing story that's happening in Baghdad. The thousands storming the embassy in Baghdad past sort of the green zone barriers. We are hearing from the president. I think he just tweeted essentially saying that Iran will be held fully responsible for what's unfolding there. Have you heard anything from the White House at all?
No, basically the president's tweet is the White House response so far. The president obviously was up early this morning. We're assuming that he was briefed on this, but the White House has not confirmed that. But you did see in that tweet the president saying, we expect the government of Iraq to help here. And that's an interesting situation because clearly there is now some daylight between the U.S. and the Iraqi government after those airstrikes hit. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out today.